Hello, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Coley, and welcome to Seen on Screen, brought to you by Make It Universal and Rotten Tomatoes, where we talk movies with some of the people behind the scenes at NBC Universal. When entertainment works best, it opens up a window into a world we've never imagined. It can show us a mirror image of our lives and offer us a heightened sense of home. Today, we're going to dig into the question, what have you seen on screen that does that? My guest today is Raheem Dawson. Hello, Raheem. Raheem, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Seen on Screen. I think there's no better way to sort of kick things off than for you to tell us what you do at Universal, what's your role, and what's your day-to-day?
Sure. So I work in the theatrical group. I'm a director of creative advertising for international. So that means is that I make sure that our international markets have all the creative assets they need to launch our movies in theaters in their territories. So trailers, TV spots, posters, out of home, digital out of home, anything that folks around the world would see that would make them want to watch a movie. I try to make sure that our folks in the markets have those assets.
That's so cool. And I love just the idea of we make this great art, and then the biggest job of that art is to get people to know that we made it. So It's like getting the trailers out there, getting the posters, being like, this is the date. Make sure you catch Twisters on this date this summer. But that's the sort of day-to-day of it. But before that, I think you maybe were just a person who loved movies. So what made you want to take that on as a career? What then brought you into the Universal arm of that? Mm-hmm.
I'm sure like so many people, it's kind of been a long time dream. When I was a kid, super fascinated with movies and storytelling. And it took me a while to figure out what my role in that all would be. For a while, I wanted to be a writer. Went away to school, wanted to be a director. Came out of school, just kind of like fell into working in TV for a while before eventually making my way to movies and to Universal.
And so then why Universal, and like what job sort of brought you into doing that storytelling here?
Yep. Yeah. So my first job with the company was in a department called NBC, or was called On Air Promo for NBC. That's a small little group, not small, gigantic group actually, that makes all the promos for the late night advertising, late night TV shows, the primetime TV shows. And so my job for that first year, I was an associate producer. I was assisting our team of comedy writer, producer, editors. And at that time at NBC, we had The Office and Parks and Rec, Community, some really, really funny shows. And it was my job to support that team. Then also I got a chance to cut and write my own promos also. Wow. That's also storytelling, right? Like cutting a 15-second promo that explains what happened in these 22 minutes of a show is storytelling, on crack. It's like, how do you do this in a really short amount of time? I'd worked in TV production, and I had no idea that there was a whole army of people whose job it is to cut these promos, right? And so my focus has always been on storytelling and kind of shifting what story we're telling a little bit differently in home entertainment than they're going to do in theatrical. My role now, it's like it's that times all of our territories. Like how do the folks in France, how are they going to receive this movie, and what do we need to do to tweak our promos to make sure that they're as effective as they can be in that territory?
Is there one particular promo or trailer or sort of spot that you've been involved in that you're particularly proud of, and how it sort of like brought people to the art?
Yeah, I mean, one of my first projects when I came to my current role, Universal, we had the international rights to the movie Till. And so already just the story of Emmett Till, a young boy who was lynched by a mob down in Mississippi for allegedly looking at a white woman wrong. So a story that I've heard all throughout my childhood, just through families, and this is my chance to have some sort of a touch on it.
Yeah, definitely kicking off a new chapter in a really memorable and iconic way. We're going to go ahead and dive into our popcorn buckets now.
Right.
Just so you know, these are going to be a few movies that you've seen on screen. Okay. And this first bucket, we're going to do it. Well, I'm going to give you a quote.
Okay.
And the quote that I'm going to say is going to hopefully you remember the movie that it's about. And then you can tell us a little bit about why that movie is special to you. And we are kicking off with a banger. Let me say.
Bring it.
Let me get into character on this one.
Give you a minute.
Yeah.
You got it?
When I say who's the master, you say show enough. I had to do it. I really did. Like I really did. Had to put everything I did in that because the movie I'm talking about is, of course,
The Last Dragon. Like
it's a great one.
This, first of all, like, I don't even know what to say. That's that movie holds arguably the most special place in my movie encyclopedia, my personal one, right? The Last Dragon. I wouldn't even call it a black exploitation movie. It's a movie that where the protagonist is this guy named Bruce Leroy. Is obviously like characters after Bruce Lee himself. He's super into kung fu and martial arts. Lives in Harlem with his family. Goes on this quest to find the master and ends up having a beat Shonuff. And I've probably seen this movie 50, 100 times. My sister and I would watch that movie. I really have to thank her for introducing that movie to me, and kind of she was the shepherd that I followed into my love of that movie.
This has got to be one that you're probably waiting to bring to your kids because you're raising Black and Asian kids, and I feel like this has got to be the one to be like, let me give you the comedy anthem of your existence.
I'm maybe different than other parents in that I appreciate that my kids like find things themselves. Like,
oh, okay.
I don't want to be the parent that's like, here, like this because I liked it. I want them to. My son right now is really into the Ninja Turtles. I love that, but like that was his own doing. He found it himself, and he's like telling me, "Hey, do you know this song?" I'm like, "Of course I know this song. Like I can sing this song, super easily." But I'll for sure show that I'll express to them how much I love it. Hopefully they'll love it too. But I think movie watching, it's while it's a communal experience in a theater, it's also very like personal and singular experience too. And so I love having debates about what movies are good or bad and things that I think and don't think about movies. I love that. But I always want to give people the space and the ability to kind of define what they like for themselves. I'm never going to push anything on anybody, even my kids. I'll for sure hope super, super strongly that they love this movie because I love it so much too. But I'll leave that to them.
I love that. That's why you're a parent and I have a dog, because I'm like, you're going to watch this. I've made my dog watch All Dogs Go to Heaven and he like doesn't care, but I've like tried to make him watch it. But again, this is why you're a parent and I have a dog. Funny. So here's another quote from our bucket of quotes. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Yeah.
I have trouble calling things my favorite, but this movie is for sure one of like my top favorites. Malcolm X, the biopic. Denzel Washington played him, directed by Spike Lee, one of my favorite directors. This movie is damn near perfect. And so it's, I don't know, it's this movie like really incited like a mini major like cultural revolution. Like the movie X came out and people wearing X hats and X t-shirts and like a resurgence in people's curiosity of Malcolm X and kind of bringing him back. I mean, I think prior to that, he existed for sure in conversations amongst Black folks and scholars. This really brought him to a much broader audience, and I think people gained a much better understanding of who he was holistically. Yeah. Which I think is super important. It's great to know people's quotes and sound bites and have an idea of what they did throughout history. But this movie really just really gave us a really complete picture of Malcolm X and told us in a really beautiful, powerful way. Yeah.
There's like an entire movie that you could make about the making of it. But I think what's most powerful of it is, whether we realize it or not, everything that Spike and Denzel went through to sort of like get this movie to have not only a box office moment, but an awards moment. If you really want to connect the dots, Denzel Washington doesn't win the Oscar for Training Day if it wasn't for Malcolm X. Yeah. There's like a weird thing about that. And there's like an interesting story about him and Spike with that too, don't you think? How significant it is in Denzel's filmography. Like, I think it's his most recognizable role probably. What I also think is so interesting about Malcolm X is, it's cinema. It's an incredible moment for both Denzel and Spike, but it's also a true life story. And so there's even more power behind it because you know that this real life figure is going to get their, leading man on the silver screen moment. Are there other stories like that that really sort of intrigue you, or other ones where you really feel that they captured something special when they did it?
Yeah, I mean, I think like another movie that kind of fits right into that little, again, like subgenre is Judas and the Black Messiah, right? About the story of Fred Hampton. And that's another one that I was so moved by. Again, I'm naturally attracted to very serious pieces of nonfiction, and both these movies are that. And just I think in both movies, the worlds that were created and the worlds that both of these movies separately like transported me to, and like putting me in the room with these people, I think was part of what made them so special to me.
Yeah, both of those, I feel like they transport the audience to these moments that they didn't know were going to be as significant as they were, but then ended up being moments that shaped history, which is kind of incredible.
Yeah.
All right, that is it for our quote section of our popcorn bucket. Now we're going to move on to our trivia section. Okay. This is other things that you've seen on screen, and I'm going to give you this trivia question. You answer it if it's true or false.
Okay.
Here we go. Actor Denzel Washington won his first Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his role in the 1989 film Glory. True or false?
That's got to be true, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's tricky, though, because he didn't win on his first one. Do you know what his first nomination was?
Wow. Nope.
That was Cry Freedom. And he lost
Mandela,
he lost to Sean Connery. And then Denzel tells the story. He knew he was going to lose because Sean Connery came out to present and he got a standing ovation. And he was like, this is not going to be a good night for us.
I'm going home.
I was like, I might as well just go home. That was for the Untouchables. All right. This is another one with, I think, a stacked cast. Maybe others would disagree, but the 1998 film Belly is the first and only feature film directed by Hype Williams. True or false?
Sadly true, right?
Sadly true, yeah.
I mean, I think, Hype Williams was, I would argue, the most iconic music video director of that era, late 90s into the 2000s. Back when music videos were just mini movies and they had these gigantic budgets and they had storylines and they were just these beautiful pieces of art. And I think this was a win for the hip hop community. The fact that this movie got made and released, it was a real win. And I think a lot of people thought this was like the beginning of something. I know Hype has had a successful career going on to direct, commercials and other stuff, but I'm surprised that he hasn't come back to direct another movie.
I mean, I think he honestly, both for good and bad, I think some people know where their medium is. And I think he's such a successful, there's a lot of Hype Williams commercials that have come out that have been really iconic, won tons of awards. And I think if you can make a career in that, why go beat your head up against the place where you fought against it? But Belly is iconic. Belly, that poster, I felt like that was like Black People's Fight Club. Yeah. Everybody had that poster up.
Yeah, college dorms plastered, all across. Yeah,
you had that poster.
Yeah, I might have.
You might have. Yeah, I think Hype is not just an inspiration to you from that era of music videos, but also there was a time where you wanted to do more what he does as like the day-to-day job. Is that correct?
For sure. I mean, I grew up in the TRL and 106 and Park era. Like music videos, it's sad that they're not still, but they used to be such a big part of just culture. Like, afternoons you would have to watch the top 10 countdown and see what videos are coming out, new videos. I went away to college and I studied film. And when I left college, I had the idea that I wanted to come home and be a music video director. This was like just when the internet was really becoming a thing, but not quite there yet. So it wasn't as easy as going on Google and finding out like where to go to be a music video director. So it was a hard path for me to kind of to blaze. But that was my goal, to come home and direct music, come back to LA and direct music videos. Because I was so inspired by that art form. Hype Williams and also like Nzinga Stewart and Little X. Like there was just this I think Chris Robinson, there's a whole cadre of talented Black music video directors that I was just continually inspired by, that I thought that was going to be where I ended up. Took a little bit of a left turn, but it's still part of me and part of why I love movies and cinema, that the art of it is a big part of it.
And still using the DMA. I mean, look, promos and short form storytelling like that. I mean, depending on how heavy the music is, that's a little music video too. It really just depends on the spot and the trailer and the art.
Very true.
Let's move on to our next trivia question. Lena Waithe co-wrote the screenplay for Queen and Slim with the now infamous author of A Million Little Pieces, James Frey.
Okay. I think this is a trick question, right? So it's false, right? Yeah. Okay. But she shares a credit, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yes.
So there's a story by credit, basically. She liked his basic idea of violence popping off on a first date. The idea of these people turning into... It is a great hook. Yeah. But then Lena took the story and went further with it. And I will say, I did a lot with both Melina and Lena leading up to the sort of push for that film. And it's one of my biggest disappointments because I think it's another example of a film that will live very differently in its post-release lifetime than it did when it first came out. And I've already seen that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think and as I think about this movie, I think what's one of the things that's very interesting about it is that it came out in 2019, right? Yeah. Had it come out post 20, I think, first of all, I think you have to think about that fact, because I think like in the history of books, there's going to be like a pretty hard line between like pre-2020 and post-2020, right?
Absolutely.
George Floyd and the racial reckoning brought forth a lot of stories and a lot of collaborations that probably would not have existed, or that just did not exist pre-2020, right? So the fact that this story got made before that is really important and really interesting. The fact that a studio, not to pat ourselves on the back, but had the courage to make that story pre-2020 is really noteworthy and something to really sit and chew on for a little bit, because not everybody was making that movie in 2019 not. Or pre-2020. Post-2020, everybody wants to have a story like that as part of their library to be da-da-da-da, but pre-2020, that was not the case. And yeah, this movie it's so many things. I came away from watching that movie and I felt like it was the most accurate representation of my Blackness I had ever seen that big, right? I think what's interesting, like something that happens in households, like across cultures, like there are things that you grow up with your family and they get passed down to you, cultural things that get passed down to you, and they are part of you, but they did not come from you, right? So like, I like Smokey Robinson and Stevie Wonder myself, but I also like them because my parents play them a lot in the house, right?
Yeah.
This was the first thing that I saw that felt like it was mine and not like of somebody else's generation. Like the music and just like the way that Melina Matsoukas was able to like to capture black skin on the screen. Like it was just, it was so...
you can tell she was a cinematographer first.
Yeah.
Like you can tell this girl knows how to make a shot.
That movie will forever hold a special place in my heart. I was fortunate enough to be able to work on the home entertainment campaign for it, which was also very special. Just to again just kind of put me close to something that felt very special to me.
I will agree with that one. Also, I think a good movie to talk about the legacy of Universal Pictures. I mean, there's a great quote from the film, "Will You Be My Legacy?" But I definitely, like yourself, I'm very proud that we're a studio that made that film because it will stand out. It will mark us as a studio that takes chances and big swings for all the right reasons.
Yeah. And not just when it's convenient.
Speaking of Universal, this is going to be a little bit different. We're going to dive into the world of Universal Pictures a bit, and you've been such a great sport.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to turn the tides on me a bit.
Perfect.
I'm going to be on the hot seat. You're going to be the one asking the questions, and this is going to be questions based off of quotes. And so it's not timed. Just open up that Universal Pictures globe and read off a quote from a Universal Pictures film that hopefully I will remember, but you can give me the multiple choice answers and hopefully I'll get it right. I'm going to pray on this one because I'm not as good with quotes.
Yeah, this is a long one to start with. So,
okay, here we go. Deep breaths.
I'm not going to do all the acting that you did, but
I would like to see it. Here we go.
My name is Dalton Russell. Pay strict attention to what I say because I choose my words carefully and I never repeat myself.
Okay, what are my options?
Public Enemies, Inside Man, or American Gangster.
I do remember those words very carefully, and that is Inside Man.
It's Inside Man. You're right.
I will.
That's it.
Funny story about that. Clive Owen since it's pretty much just a voiceover part, they were like, do I need to be on set? Like when he was like getting it with Spike, and he was just like, well, I cast Denzel. He's like, I will be on set. That's what happens when you're like, I want that scene partner.
Absolutely.
I don't care if I have a mask on.
I think that was like the first, that might have been like, that was like the first words of the movie, right?
Yeah. I think that's like the opening.
Yeah. All right. Second one. This is a good one. I got it. I'm gone.
Go ahead.
A, Do the Right Thing. B, Black Klansman. Or C, Inside Man.
Okay. I got it. I'm gone.
You're overthinking it.
I know. I guess it's Black Klansman.
Oh my God. No, you're wrong.
What did I get?
It's Do the Right Thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I can't remember it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Do Right Thing. It's like 20 years. So like, shit. Yes.
Yeah. You see it now, right?
Yes, I do see it now.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that quote at all. See, I told you I'm not as good as quote.
I think it's when Spike is
Black
talking
people
to
are
the
going to
mayor,
come
right?
for me on this one. I didn't remember it. It's fine. It's okay, though. You know why? Because I'm saying it is. I haven't seen it in 25 years. I really haven't.
I might only remember that because I remember I wrote a paper about Do the Right Thing in like high school. And so I watched it like millions of times.
But by the way, I didn't remember the quote at all. So I was literally just guessing. But yeah, man, I haven't seen over 25 years. 30 years. I saw Do the Right Thing in high school.
We'll just keep going up. Next will be 40 years.
No,
50
it's like literally like whatever it is, 25 years, like whatever, 12, 13.
Yeah. No,
and I'm old.
We believe it.
So between 25 and 30, somewhere in there. All right, we'll redeem. Here we go.
They're not staying here because they're cute. They're staying here because they're family.
Go ahead.
E.T., Batteries Not Included, or The Secret Life of Pets.
That's definitely Batteries Not Included.
Yeah.
I remember Hugh Crome saying that one.
Yeah. I don't remember that quote, but I remember that movie.
Oh, that's Hugh Crome definitely saying that one. Yeah.
Right. Last one. That's a good one. Let your heart guide you. It whispers, so listen closely.
All right.
A, The Land Before Time. B, An American Tail. Or C, Balto.
That is Little Fit's mother in The Land Before Time. Yeah.
Got choked up just you saying that. Yeah.
Let your heart guide you. Yeah. What is with cartoons killing moms? Like, seriously, there's a lot of momicide happening in these animated films.
If you're a mom in a cartoon, like, watch out.
Seriously, Bambi, Land Before Time, they're all gone. Little Mermaid, they're all gone.
Yeah.
Raheem, sir, thank you so much for playing along and for sharing your journey at Universal and all of the films that you've seen on screen. I also want to thank all of you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time on Seen on Screen.